night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
What is going on, Hive? How is everybody doing this evening? I hope you all are having a fantastic day. Apologies for being 30 minutes late, but we are all good to go. I got Sammy T Mafia and I got Jess backstage. If you don't know who Jess is, or at least by name, you don't know who Jess is, but if you follow the Idaho 4 case, I'm sure you have most likely seen the viral theory where she lays out, well, we were lied to. There were two people. And it goes on to talk about at this time, you're going to hear somebody say this. And then afterwards, this person shows up. And she does a phenomenal job at talking you through her thought process, which I can appreciate big time. I think it's one of the coolest things ever when somebody can look at audio, video, information that we've looked at a million times, and they can piece together something in a way that makes you think, wow, that actually makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. And it clicks. It makes your brain start to think, wow, that makes all of this not seem so crazy in a logical thought process. And Jess, I have her TikTok pulled up, so when I do bring her on up here, I will show it if you have not seen it. But I just think it's awesome. I can appreciate it. I think that this is one of the best theories that I have heard as of late when it comes to the Idaho 4 case, given the new audio, the new video, the documents, everything. I think that she lined it up really, really well. I have as I said, Sammy T Mafia backstage. So there will be no shortage of conversation this evening because we are going to have so much to talk about, so much to dissect and discuss, and we're going to get to the damn bottom of this. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and say what's up to everybody. I got my Mod Luna, Crime Spy, Lisa Wakey, 8488, Deanna Boss, 4167, Poetic Justice, Batshit Crazy, Scout, Tara B, UK Karen, Crime Spy, Sinful Biatch, 420, Sherry, Love Tina, KDM, 274, Kyler, Rachel, Ricky Stained Logic, J-Les, Mel, Deborah, Tarnished Pearl, Growth Renewal, UFO Dog, CGE 3333, Tinfoil Hat Claire, Phoenix Talks, Cindy's, Mac Dot Ann 8-4, Real Terry Weed, Kathy NC1, Heart of Gold, Tiffany Douglas, Sammy Joe, Pretty Much Maybe, Carol B, BLL or BL Smith 07. Edie says, could you make a truth board and a theory board and a debunked board, like a diagram for the scattered brain like myself? That would be a great visual. That is a great idea. I, for better or worse, have a very similar working brain to you, Edie, where I have a squirrel brain where I try to stay focused and then I can't. And then I'm like, what about this? What about that? But I do think that that is a great idea. And as a reminder, anything over $4.99 is going to pop up right here. I will address that immediately. As you all are tuning in, please hit that like button. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put this full screen. If you guys want to screenshot this and then after the live concludes, just tap the QR code. It will take you to all of the Hive's links. It'll take you to the Discord, my TikTok, HiveMindStore.com. And all of my streams are free. The best way to support this channel is to just like, subscribe, and send it to your over-fluoridated normie friends, which takes me into my disclaimer, which is if you're easily rattled or if you are offended on behalf of others, you're not going to like this. You're going to hate me. You're going to think that we are being maybe too analytical. We're tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. But at the end of the day, we like to critically think. We like to think past the headlines. And so if that sounds like you have found your friends. Welcome to the Hive Mind. I'm your host, Birdie. I go live weeknights at 7 p.m. Central. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring up Miss Sammy T Mafia, a Hive regular.
Hi, guys.
So, Miss Jess, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. How are you guys doing? Thank you so much, Birdie, for having me, man. Thank you for this opportunity. I've watched your guys' show for a very long time, and I admire you guys and the way you guys think. And honestly, I can truly say that a lot of probably where, my brain started going was from listening to you guys because, you can just never believe what you're told, especially when nothing adds up. It would be different if stuff made sense, but it feels like everything in this case was put backwards to just throw everyone off. So that's what we're on, right? We're going to dig to the bottom until we find it, man. I won't settle for the, one person did it, but we got other DNAs and fingernail clippings, dude. I'm not buying it.
Wait, so you're telling me that Ashley Banfield and Nancy Grace may not be the world's best investigators? That's what I'm hearing?
Oh, 1,000%. And maybe not even Brian Enton, because when they said that, there's a clip where they said, Brian's here. Who reported it? I really started thinking, I said, well, who was the first reporter? Because who's going to run to a scene that, a journalist, somebody that wants to get the report. So how do we know that that's not Brian? You know what I mean? And they just said, oh, well, because I think this started and I think this was supposed to be a frame job for, I think they planned it to where, oh, it could be the cartel, a college kid, a guy from Washington that wears gloves because he's weird. He's clean. So
Mhm.
yeah.
No,
I
I
think,
think we're all
oh,
on the same page. Go ahead, Sammy.
Brian Enton just recently was in the airport hustling, and he's like, "Hey, don't worry, guys. I got this lawsuit for WSU, and I'm gonna deep dive it. I'm just running through the airport." Like, he's just like manic and crazy. And then all of a sudden it cuts to him going over this WSU lawsuit. And as he's reading the complaint and describing the complaints against Brian, I'm still not seeing the scariness of any of this. Like, if any of this was truly anything other than a socially awkward person who is on the spectrum, who doesn't take social cues, that's what you're going to get. We've all had people like that who are close talkers, who go on and on and on, who just everybody has worked with that person in your fucking office who you're just like, please, for the love of God, don't let it be me today. And it doesn't mean they're a serial killer.
I feel that. I definitely feel that. And I think that Brian Enton perfectly embodies that person where it's like he's the type of dude, if you were walking down a long hallway and he had just walked through one door and you walked through the other and you're walking towards each other, you're going to strategically pull your phone out right at the right time so that you don't have to make eye contact, and you hope that maybe you can just act like you're on your phone the entire time. That's how I picture Brian Enton in an office.
I was just waiting for him to say, these sound like personality, like, just if we're to believe the medical reports about his autism spectrum, how he's always been socially awkward his whole life and had a hard time making friends, et cetera, then this follows the pattern of that. So what's the problem? And then the complaint went on to say something like he was very interested in serial killers and sexual deviancy and theft and this. And I go, yeah, because he's a criminology professor. I mean, why is this an issue? What are you studying? Are you studying French? I don't think so.
Like, what are you supposed to look at, dude? How are you supposed to know about criminals if you don't study them? Like, it's really, you know what really freaked me out too is how fast they ran the narrative. Oh, this is Ted Bundy. This is the sorority killings junior. And you know what that makes me think? That they already had this plan, but they already knew they was going to plan it on him. I don't know why, like you said, because he's weird. Like, that's up to your own personal subjection. So I don't understand, but it just feels so wrong. No person's going in a house in 13 minutes and literally unaliving 4 people out of 6 people. I mean, come on, dude. Come on. And clean the crime scene, bro, meticulously. Better than forensics, bro. Swear.
Yeah.
Better than a forensics team. 4 people got brutally unalived. You can't tell me that thud wasn't Ethan falling off the balcony now, dude. I thought about it and I said, you know what? What would that thud have been? That was like, I passed out of dehydration and busted my chin open standing straight up onto a wood floor. What that was nothing compared to what that
Wow.
thud was. So I started thinking this week, like, because the concrete, dude, that threw me off the whole time. But it's like, how are you telling me that all this got cleaned up? And I don't know. I really think that to begin, they knew that they were gonna. It was particular timing. Think about it. It was calculated. Kaylee just broke up with Jack 3 weeks ago, of course. So I think the main plan was to frame him. And then they just figured, oh well, this isn't gonna work because the text about the vape. Like, were they there trying to lure him to the house? Because that's what I think. I don't know.
Well, I agree, and I think
we were all wrong.
I'm getting your TikTok pulled up right here, so I'm going to show this just so that people that aren't familiar with you, Jess and Sam, if you got something quick, go for it.
Jess, I like that excuse for falling over for dehydration. I should have used that a lot more in my 20s.
No, that time it really was, bro. It really was. It was but it was bad. But I mean, the sound was like, I don't know, dude. That's such a particular thud sound. And I started thinking, like, what could that have been? And then I just kept looking at that balcony this week, like, dude, I think, I don't know. You don't know,
Yeah.
you know? That's the thing. It's
Yeah.
not like we got anything. What are the odds that all these college kids live in a house and there's no cameras that are like, and nobody called the cops, but there was thousands of noise complaints every other day, dude. You can't breathe without getting a $350 noise complaint. But the night everyone gets unalived,
Yeah.
no big deal.
Yeah.
It's
No,
insane.
I
It's
agree.
insane.
I agree. And so again, I'm sure that most people that are tuning in have seen this. Jess, you're up to 1 million views right now.
That's
Almost
crazy.
80,000
I just want
likes.
to say that, like, if I knew I was going, I had 400 followers. So I was like, yeah, 7 people are going to see this. Maybe I'll make like a new theory friend. And then, I mean, I did obviously, but I had no
Good.
idea, dude. I had no idea. Like, at all, at all. So
Well,
I woke up and I texted my friend, like, dude, do you see this? Like, what is going on? I was at 10,000 within 2 days. So thank you guys so much for your support, man. Like, I really, really do try to put my brain into this to look from every single angle, because I like to study serial killers too, but that don't make me a, you know what I mean? That doesn't make you a freaking murderer, dude. I don't know what they had going on with the story, dude. Like Ted Bundy Jr., that's what it gives. They planned a story, because why else would Lifetime already have movie deals and stuff? You know what I mean? Like, that's freaking weird, dude. Like, he didn't get a fair trial. He didn't get a fair anything. And most states have a 98% conviction rate, and people don't understand that, dude. And they're like, why wouldn't he talk? You know why he wouldn't talk? Because he was framed. Who would you trust? Who would you trust? And first of all, if you're listening to this as a former ex-felon, if you're listening to this and you ever get stopped by the police for anything and they say, no, man, just talk to us. No, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't care what it is. You tell them you want a lawyer, right then you don't say a word to those people. And it's not about the cops. It's about your rights as an American, bro. And they will weasel you into it, dude. They'll weasel you into a room and then tell you to say, oh, and look at Stephen Avery. Dude got falsely accused of a sexual assault, gets out, supposed to get paid, and then gets set up on a freaking another murder. Like, nobody in their right mind, though. Do you think if you did all that time and you got out and was going to get millions of dollars, that you was just going to go?
If
I
you
don't
watch the
know.
Candace Owens documentary on Stephen Avery, you're gonna have a different opinion on that second one.
Well, then, I mean, but
For
I'm just
making a
saying in
murderer?
general, you know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah,
Like,
she did a whole. Now, of course, it was on the
I haven't
Daily
seen that.
Wire, so they own that. But it's like a 12-part series, and
Ooh.
it made
I've
me
never seen that. I'll
rethink
definitely watch that then.
They
But
defrauded the public on that Netflix doc, man.
I
What?
believe it. I don't know. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah.
I mean, I'm
It's
just saying in
Rick.
general.
Rick and I, when we watched it, our mouths were hanging open. We were like,
I'm
I
definitely.
can't believe
Oh,
that I
shit.
bought this
Wow.
bullshit.
I see it. You never know, dude. That's why you always have to double
Yes.
check. But there
I
was
agree.
one more case. There's a Christopher Tapp who did 20 years for the sexual assault and killing of a lady named Angie. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm slipping on her last name right now. Same thing, though. He did 20 years. The mom said, look, I don't believe this is who killed my daughter. They reopened it, found the right guy. He said, well, I was just going there to sexually assault her, and it just flipped. And then he gets out. He's awarded $20 million, bro. $1 million for every year that he was falsely imprisoned. And he got unalived. I mean, that's
That's
why I'm
crazy.
like, and it's Idaho too. Just saying, like, I don't believe in coincidences, dude. And I mean, I really don't, especially when it comes to a quadruple homicide, bro. Like, what are the odds?
There are none. And
It's
I
crazy.
have a couple of things to say. So I'm going to put your TikTok full screen. Your username on TikTok, Jess, is the real Jess Rains. You guys will be able to see that right here. After I saw this, that's when I reached out to you because I felt like you did just an excellent job explaining a theory through and through. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play this. I'm going to let it go all the way through. What is it? Is this really a 9-minute theory? That's okay. If it's that long, That's okay. Well, I'm going to let it play because really, Jess, what this TikTok's going to do is get us into the rest of the stream. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to sit on my hands. I'm going to mute everybody and let's go ahead and let's watch what it is that you had said on TikTok on January 3rd. Again, just crazy.
I'm still floored, man. So thank you guys for having me tonight. And I'm so glad to be here to talk.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what you say, and I'm excited to have everybody hear this. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start it.
We're all wrong. There were two males in the house that night around 1:32 a.m. They pulled up and the girl walks outside and says, "Blank, what are you doing here? I see you, blank." And this video is for education and entertainment purposes only. When they realized Kaylee and Maddie were still at the corner club, they went to the corner club and then they followed them home. They get out of the car and slam the door and you hear them, they stop Murphy and you hear him say, "Blank, don't go too crazy in there." They enter the house. You hear him say, "Get that bitch into Xana's room." They did tie them up and they bound them together and they gagged them, Kaylee and Maddie. He proceeds to start yelling at her, asking if she had been double dipping. She said no. She said, "Please stop," basically. This is all around 3:45 now, or at least that's what the timestamps say. He proceeds to Kaylee, and you hear gurgling and aspirating. Maddie screams, "Kaylee, no." He says, "Stop." She says, "Kaylee," again. He says, "She's gone." As soon as he says she's gone, the other unidentified male, number 2, says, "Come on, let's get ready to go to the house and clean up." They found blood in the other cabin, remember? As soon as they go to exit around 3:48, almost to 3:49 a.m., at the very end of 3:48, so 3:48 and 50 seconds around then, he says, "Come on, let's get ready to go home and clean up." They go to walk out and Ethan walks in. Ethan gasps and says, "Oh shit, I'm calling 911. Then you hear the first male say, "Come here." He starts chasing Ethan. They get in a scuffle. It was the two men against Ethan. You hear Ethan yell for Xana, and then Xana comes down, and that's when the fight started with her, which is why she had so many defense wounds, because she was awake and she was trying to help Ethan, which is why Dylan never called 911, because she literally watched them unalive Ethan for saying he was going to call 911. Then one of the males speaks to one of the females, that must have been Dylan, and said, "Just tell them it was an accident." That's why Dylan didn't call 911. That's also why Dylan was so uncontrollably emotional at the sentencing, because she knew that Koberger was being put away for a life sentence and that the real people that did it would never go to prison, because they caught the unaliver, which is why in that Facebook post, she says, "I don't know who called 911. It wasn't me," because she didn't want them to come back and finish her off for calling 911. The dogs did know the two unalivers. And then it seems like at some point when another car pulls up, he says, "Just get Murphy and make sure he's safe." So they literally took the dog and wanted the dog to be safe while they were committing this heinous fucking crime. It all makes perfect sense now. The two unidentified male blood that they found at the crime scene, that's who the real culprits were. That's why it was their blood left at the scene, which is what always got me, because touch DNA can be transferred from object to object or person to person. So you could easily plant a knife sheath with someone else's DNA on it easily. What they didn't produce was a murder weapon, and typically DNA like blood would override something like touch DNA. So that means the people that did this have a lot of money. They're very prominent in that town. And if you follow the money trail to, I don't know, the officers and the judges and everyone they paid off, I bet you'd find out who the real killer is.
Facts.
When Dylan says in her interrogation, "I don't know if he knew me and that's why he spared me," they did know her. She was actually very close with male number 2. Very close. As in, like, maybe they dated, because they say the names multiple times. I'm not going to say them on here because I'm low-key scared that they'll come get me next, but that's what happened. There were at least 2 males inside of that house. They did restrain Murphy. That's why Murphy had nothing on him, no blood, no anything on him. That's why Dylan didn't call 911. That's why she was so scared in her interviews and didn't remember anything, because she knew that the unalivers were going to be contacting her and asking her, what did she say to police? And she probably knew that they could have access to the interrogations if they could pay off the police. That's why she wanted to start a GoFundMe, because she knew if something ever happened with this case and that family came for her, if they could bury Koberger in 4 life sentences, what could they do to her? I believe the only reason that Dylan was spared is because she was close to unidentified male number 2. I believe that Bethany was at the other house with the people that unalived the 2 girls, and that's why she kept texting her, just come down here. She wanted Dylan to leave the house and come down there with them, but would you want to leave the house and go to the house where the unalivers were? Doubtful. Even if it was your man, even if it was your friend. That's why she was texting. I don't know about anything else, but I'm going to try to go through some more of the audio footage, but I could hear it clear as day last night, and I posted it with the caption so you guys could hear what I heard. He was accusing her of cheating. He said something, there will be no more of your lies. And that's when Kaylee started, or when Maddie started screaming for Kaylee. And he said, stop, she's gone. So he obviously knew that she was not alive then. And then you hear gurgling and aspirating. So it was either one of the girls. But I just want to know how you could live with that, because I've been up close to someone before they pass away and get that death gurgle. And I hope that it replays in their mind all day, every day. I hope it drives them insane. I hope if they see this TikTok, that I hope they know that karma's coming someday for them. And I pray that the truth comes out, because it seems to me now that Brian Koberger was framed 100%. That's why when he got pulled over for doing 41 and a 35, and he asked the cop for what he got pulled over for, he said he was speeding. Then the cop asked him, was he wearing a seatbelt? And Brian says, no. And the cop says, oh, well, that's no good. And he said, at least I was honest with you, right? He was using reverse psychology to try to make the officer feel bad, because he knew that they were plotting something on him. That's why when he got pulled over the one time, like 15 minutes apart, I believe the second time he got pulled over, he did it on purpose to prove that they had been following him. I guarantee you the stalker they said Kaylee had was the unaliver. It wasn't Brian Koberger. And if you lived right down the street from Kaylee, then that would be a good way to monitor her. But I do believe that Dylan invited her back, and that the person she was with coerced her to tell Kaylee to come back for that weekend. And I just think that she didn't know they were going to do all that. Am I giving her a free pass? No, but I can understand now kind of why she was so scared to call 911. Because obviously if she was the only one left alive in the house and the cops showed up in the middle of the night and nobody else was around, they would know that she was the one that called. And they would have made her pay for that. And then really where it goes from there is untelling, because you hear the cop saying that he was homeboys with Hunter J. So who was Hunter J close to? Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. I say it all the time, you guys. That's why when Brian Koberger got arrested, he said, did you get the other guys? Because at very least, maybe he was like a watchman or something, but them boys know what they did. And they're probably watching this TikTok right now with their rich little family who just paid to make all of this go away. That's why they wanted the trial to not happen, because if that unidentified male blood would have ever been brought up, or the unidentified male DNA that was found underneath Maddie's fingernails that didn't match Koberger, they would have known right away that he never did any of this. That's why he was so calm in court, because he knew he didn't do anything, or he didn't do what they said he did. And I'm not saying he was completely absolved of guilt, but I guarantee you if I could find a couple of voice clips of those friends, I could match it up 1,000%. This is how corrupt judicial systems can get if one person is in power in town and has a lot of connections. And that's what happened here. The unaliver was from a very Idaho prominent family, and they had done a lot for Idaho in general. Money can make people shut up, and I bet you if you followed the money trail, you would see which family was responsible for this cover up. Well, we were all wrong.
So, one thing that
Oh yeah, go ahead, Bertie.
real quick. Oh, real quick. What I was just gonna say is this: is Sammy, I'm sure you can relate. Anybody that has called in, when you give a theory, right? Obviously, there's always going to be pieces of it that I agree with, you agree with, even probably listening back to yourself, Jess. You're like, okay, well, I could have explained that better, or whatever it may be, right? I mean, that's just human nature.
Right.
However, it's so funny to me in this case how high emotions get, right? For example, it almost seems like in let's you could say Charlie Kirk, you could say Brian Laundrie, you could say John Benet Ramsey. I said Brian Laundrie never even went back home. People are saying Charlie Kirk's microphone was a energy weapon that went into his neck. But we're saying, what if the DNA that's untested might be the killers? And people want to just lose their minds on it. So I think that we all have to keep that, relative and at the front of mind, because if anybody's got a cleaner timeline than what we've been told through and through, I'm all ears. And Sammy, sorry for
Oh no, you
interrupting
don't have
but
to apologize. You didn't interrupt. I agreed with you, especially, and I've made this point on lives before, that I believe Dylan was so emotional at that sentencing hearing because it was the weight of the world off her shoulders that she had been holding on to.
That's
That
a rip.
And prior to that, it was all avoidance and fluffery, where you had articles in the New York Post from her stepmother saying how difficult it was for her, even though she was partying in college, which is fine, whatever.
Right.
But the point is, I believe that emotional reaction wasn't acting. It's just the emotion wasn't towards what everybody thinks it was. It was her releasing that burden of holding on to a lie and feeling like it's over.
Yeah, I agree. And so
and not having to get cross-examined on this horse shit.
Wait, you mean you might feel a little bit more comfortable when you're in the middle of every interview that's ever been recorded and publicly released, where they say, Sammy, just want you to know you're not in any trouble. Like, this is a unique situation and we just want to get answers. And maybe after the fact, if you do remember something, just call us. You got our card.
But this is where you start to see the law enforcement being involved in the cover up and just going with this narrative, is because if you ever watch crime shows where, for example, there's somebody who murders their parents. I watched one where it was a young Asian woman in Toronto who lied about going to college, who wanted to be with this boyfriend that her Asian parents would not accept, even though he was Asian, but it wasn't up to their standard. She was like drilled her whole life, piano lessons, dance lessons, sports, highest grades. And then she just kind of loved this guy so much that she wanted to throw it all away and faked going to college for 2 years. And then in order to be with this guy, she thought, I have to kill my parents. And she did. And the police, and she blamed it on 2 robbers that didn't kill her parents. So, but every time they kept bringing her back in and they would pry just a little bit more or just go over, how did you exactly call when your hands were tied behind your back? How did you get your cell phone out? Can you demonstrate how you got your cell phone out of your pocket with your hands restrained behind your back on a railing? They just kept needling. And we didn't get that with these cops, where how many wide open lanes were there for the police to drive a truck through the inconsistencies and keep bringing her back? You can be gentle. You can say all of those things that they said in the beginning, but you keep bringing that person back who's being inconsistent. And for some godforsaken reason, they just decided that's fine. We'll just
Yeah.
accept that and
Right.
no more.
I
You
think that's
know,
well said. Go ahead, Jess.
it really just blows my mind because like think about I've watched tons of interrogations, dude. Have you ever seen them be a quadruple homicide and they're just like everything's okay, man. It's fine. Don't pry for nothing. Usually they're like, this is her picture. Show us who she is. What do you know about her? And I understand they're college kids, man, but it's like even the interrogations feel off, you know? And I've seen cases just like the one you saw, a man who lost his job and he didn't want his wife to find out, so he literally ended up unaliving the entire family and his brother stopped him at like the very end. I mean, it's but why was the investigation not done correctly? I mean, down to the how many crime scenes have you seen where there's like no evidence markers? How is there no evidence? That's what gets me, dude. How is there no, and the evidence we do have is like, well, we can't test it. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. And I think real quick too, both to you and Sammy, I can go on X or Twitter or Instagram even. I can go on Netflix and I can see melees. I can see blood. I could see all of
Mhm.
even without asking for it, right? Like I think Sammy, was it you with your daughter that talked about she sent you the Charlie Kirk neck
Yeah,
shot on
she
it's like
did.
and your daughter was 13 and it's like okay hang on, so now as grown adults in the public when we have an international headline quadruple murder we get black boxes, but a 13-year-old opens up an app and she sees a man's neck. It
And
doesn't
the
matter who it
craziest part
is.
is she doesn't have social media. It was somebody who sent it to her who has social media, so she couldn't even escape it. And that's literally how I found
Yes.
out. Like I wasn't sure. Like I saw the hashtag, but I was at work. I didn't see any of the videos. And then I kept getting like messages from my daughter and she was like cuz you can avoid some people who are just in the algorithm, and so young kids resonated with that format of challenge me bro sort of thing.
Yes.
They like
Well,
that. It's an easy, I mean, for more nuanced thinkers, it's not that revelatory in my opinion. I mean, it served its purpose for what that forum was supposed to do, but for younger, I'd say middle schooler kids, it kind of is entertaining for them. And also a little bit eye-opening and challenges their own sensibilities, I think, in a benign way that's not too information heavy.
right, right. And I think that's what's confusing when it comes to this. So my question to both of you and Sammy, just kind of going off of what Jess's theory is, one of the things that I
Mhm.
think you did really well, Jess, is you were able to interpret the audio to where you were piecing it together. This is two people inside. Then it was, shut up,
Mhm.
bitch, whatever, right? Like
Right.
I think that
Yeah.
everybody thinks it, right? And the fact that you put it out there, you got a lot of traction on it. Take the traction piece out of it. But clearly it's resonating with people.
Right.
Clearly this audio is so degraded and it's so manipulated where you can say something that people hear and they go, that does make sense. And so my question for both of you is this: do you believe that the 111 or 1112 audio and video, do you guys think that that's the key? Do you think that if we were just able to hear things clearly, we would know what happened?
I do.
No.
I
Okay,
don't
that's
know
good.
for
I
sure
mean,
100%, but I mean just I mean, because what I did literally, so I went and watched everyone's interrogations. And then usually when people are lying, you know what I mean? They don't know that. So they try to add stuff in. So just started fact checking people's alibis, bro, like I guess like a real cop would. And then I took, Jack says, oh, at 12:57 this happened, or 2:57 this happened. So I just started going back and I was like, let's cross reference what they're saying is happening to the time frames that they're giving us. And my mind was freaking blown, dude. I mean, it was the furthest thing from quiet. There was gunshots, cars wrecking, people screaming, run for your life. So people knew. But why like I said, the noise complaints, dude. No noise complaints. The one night, the biggest night of the year, the biggest game night of the year, bro. No noise complaints, and this was the worst.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
why?
I contemplated if the audio wasn't real. I was like, I'm tripping, dude. This is a fake audio. I'm losing my freaking mind. I cross-referenced them all time point to time point, and that's how I filled everything in, man. I'd go to this camera, this camera, this camera, and just listen. And that's how, because a lot of alibis ain't alibying, baby. They're not, the time frames ain't time framing. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, the
Somebody-
math doesn't math.
At all.
Let me just answer this question. Somebody said, how does a 13-year-old get sent a Charlie Kirk video? If other parents let their kids have Twitter, which I don't, and they screen record videos and they message your child, that's what happens. So that's how that happened.
I
Now-
can't get on Twitter. baby.
Wait, hang on.
Most times.
Did somebody just need that explained to them?
I like.
Oh my
know.
God, a 13-year-old doesn't have a cell phone? A 13-year-old
No, I
doesn't
mean, she
download
just got a cell phone like when she turned
No.
13 for
Yeah.
whatever. But I still don't let her have social media. But like I said, I can't be everybody's mom.
Right.
Well, see, and I don't know who said that. I don't know who said, how does a 13-year-old see Charlie Kirk? But I don't want to be mean. That comment really seems to line up with people that would think Brian Koberger, he slid the back door open. He creeped into a house with 5 cars in the driveway. He was in the pitch black, never been in the house before. He has no connection to these people. He's never done it. He has no idea what he's doing. He's going to creep up the stairs. He's going to stab them meticulously so that they can't scream.
But
gonna-
yeah, nobody screamed at 4 a.m. There was not one scream. Nobody, they, dude, they literally said they went peacefully. What do you mean? They got,
Well, so when
It's
I said I
mind-blowing.
don't believe the audio will solve it is because I believe it's part of it, but the other part they didn't do is they aren't releasing those timing advance reports that they have, that we know they have. So those cell phones in the area to coordinate with who is making that audio. I think that's critical. And I also think the health data on the individuals' phones that were at the scene that morning, including the 2 surviving roommates. I mean, how do we not have the steps they took? How do we not have their heart rate? It just blows my fucking mind that if you want to just blow this whole we're sleeping, we're in the same room together, just look at their data.
Well, hey, look at their data. Look at their data. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's been done a million times. Here's my question. If you were in Bethany's room and there's a hardwood floor, I guarantee you that if it's so quiet, like no noise, even if there's music playing, and I took an empty solo cup and I just did this off the beer pong table and it goes ding, 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 you would hear that clear as day on the wood floor from your room, whether it's in the opposite corner or not. You'd hear a damn plastic cup.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows that
one
noise.
One of the first things that everybody caught as being odd was the interview somebody gave who lived in that house prior to the Idaho 4. And they said in the interview, those walls are paper thin. Everything creaks. Everything makes noise. That's like, and still no journalist decided, let's dig. Like, why?
Oh, they dig all right. They just dug that house right the hell out of the ground, bro. They dug. They definitely dug.
They planted
God,
it
dude,
with
that
like a
pisses me
daisy.
off more than anything, bro. How do you fucking destroy a crime scene of a quadruple homicide, bro? How, when in the history, bro? Because my mom at first was like, well, I don't know. And then once I laid everything out, she was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, dude, when have you, I was like, you've been around way longer than me. You're the one who got me into true crime. When the fuck have you ever heard of a quadruple homicide And they just get rid of the house once they find the suspect. Because that's what it was. They knew that they was going to fucking put it on Brian, whether it was him, whether it wasn't him, whether he was there or whether he wasn't there. And why is because they fucking thought he was weird. I don't know why they picked Brian, but I feel like because think about it. The girls was being stalked. I think fucking Brian was getting stalked too. I think whoever this is fucking stalks all. I mean, how would Brian have known Kaylee was going to be back? If he's at school, I mean, how was he going to know that weekend of all weekends after she moved that she was coming back? That's what gets me. And the first time this story dropped, the media told us that it was Maddie being stalked. So you know what? I kind of think that's why. I mean, they flipped it 100 times, but if you think about it like that, dude, stalkers are serious business. Like, so that's the mind frame I've been looking at it too. Like, was there like a person for each person that got killed? I don't know, but I know for a fact that I believe it was for Kaylee and Maddie. It was intended for them. And then Ethan walks in, the DoorDash orders bullshit. Ethan walked in as soon as they said, come on, man, let's get ready to go home and clean up. Ethan says, oh shit, I'm calling 911. And you hear, come here. And then you hear thud. I mean, be the fuck for real, dude. The DoorDash orders bullshit. And think about that. You know what I thought about this morning, Birdie? Your mind's about to be blown, dude. I'm thinking about this. And I'm literally like, well, if the thud was the thing, and I'm thinking of the timing. Think about it. What time did Molly pull up? 3:51. What time did Ethan say, oh shit, 3:49? So that's what fucking Molly saw. Whether Molly was there really delivering food to someone else, I don't know. Was Molly there to deliver the solo cups, the red solo cups? Was Molly there? But that's why she was so freaked out. Because I thought about the timelines. I mean, literally. 3:47, they're like, come on, man, let's leave. And then 3:48:58, you hear them take 2 steps. And then as soon as they take a step, Ethan walks in. And I mean, it was I'm calling 911, oh shit. And then it was just literally, come here. And then you hear a thud. And then I thought about, dude, that thud, it lives in my fucking mind rent free. I hate it, bro. And it's so terrible, bro. I'm so sorry to the families that your kids went through this. It's awful to sit and describe, to transcribe that audio, bro. It really is. And especially when shit starts clicking, it's awful, bro. So I can't imagine what they went through. But I'm telling you right now, it wasn't for 4 people. So I don't know if Dylan was really never there. But the phone shit for her, I mean, was she tied up? Because you're not going to go in and kill 6 people and give them their phones to Snapchat fucking record you killing them. I'm sorry.
I agree with that part.
Interestingly enough, though, the parents who never really agreed on anything as this case has transpired, as we've seen through all of this, even after the plea deal, have all signed on to this WSU lawsuit, lock, stock, and barrel, and are in agreement, which is presenting this narrative of they could have prevented this at WSU because of these behavioral complaints, which I'd like to see how they were investigated, because they're showing the complaints, but they're not showing that what actions were taken to remedy whatever was said. So first of all, I don't know the sensitivities in this college, and I don't know Brian's personality per se. I just know how Ann Taylor described it and his, I guess you could say, autistic spectrum. But the point is I've never seen them all agree on something ever.
Right. Well, that's a good point. And
so I thought that this lawsuit would be good for discovery purposes, because civil lawsuits tend to get more information out that you can't necessarily get, that's not discoverable in criminal trials. So like you can depose people, you can subpoena certain information that you normally can't get in criminal trials. So I thought, oh, this is going to be good. But now that I'm seeing the outlines of it, I'm not so sure that this is just not another layer of railroading cover up to continue this narrative about Brian versus getting the truth.
That's a great point, because and Sammy, so just so you know, Jess, Sammy, if you've tuned in, Sammy's been on like Thursday nights for a while now. And Sammy and I, we broke down police body camera of Brian Koberger's traffic stops. And there was this time where we really went into depth on, look at how he's asking questions. This is why I did this.
It was really probing, wasn't it? Like really super weird. You know what? To add to that though, I was watching those, and you know what? You know what's so fucking weird to me, you guys? I swear to God, I get cold chills every time I watch it or even think about it, dude. The time he got pulled over and he got the let's see, because that's the thing. They were fucking harassing him, dude. And as someone who was a felon and actually got in trouble, they fucking did the same thing to me forever, even though I didn't do anything after my case and everything went away, you know? But they do. They find people to target and they'll do it. And that's why I'm such a strong advocate to this. But it was so weird because he pulled him over for doing 41 and a 35. Mind you, he's already been pulled over like 2 or 3 different times. And he's like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And he's like, "You were doing," he was like, "I was speeding." He was like, "Yeah, 41 and a 35. And first of all, I was like, "Come on, man. That's just like nitpicking. Let's be real, bro." And then, which it is, I mean, follow the laws, people. I'm not telling you to break the laws, but if he's already been being pulled over. But what was weird is he said, "Well, were you wearing your seatbelt?" And he said, "No, sir, I wasn't."
Right.
And he said, "Well, that's not good." Just like that. Just so fucking cocky, bro. "That's not good." And he said, "Well, at least I was honest with you," which Brian obviously is smart. He knows psychology. That was reverse psychology because he knew whatever they was doing was fucking corrupt. They asked him for his number though, dude. And when he said, he was like, "Why did you ask me for my number?" And he's like, "Well, I need it to file this report." So they said that he had if he was really stalking these girls on social media, fucking show us the ping, show us the pages, show us the information.
Well, they can't.
I don't know if they got his fucking phone number. Is that what they was doing? Did they clone his phone to figure out where he was, or were they stalking him to figure it out? Or because I almost just think whoever said, "Just get somebody, you go get me somebody in a fucking white Elantra and you make it happen quick. There's a quadruple homicide and we look like a bunch of asshats," is what I think. Swear to God.
That part I could see. I could see somebody hypothetically, if shit's hitting the fan, they're like, "Just find me the first goddamn white Elantra that you can get. I don't care who it is." I could see that happening. But
I mean, because think about it. Why did he just keep getting pulled over? Was it all the other Elantras, or were they just like
the getting pulled
over?
It was
the out-of-state plates.
Yeah, it was out-of-state plates. It was stopping in a crosswalk. It was following too close.
It was not knowing the locality rules of traffic and out-of-state plates in a high trafficking region.
Yes. And just to bring that back to the point that I was making, to bring that all up, is not even necessarily what the cops pulled this dude over for. It was rather Brian's mannerisms while he was interacting with the police. He does not seem aggressive
at all.
He seems very like Asperger's, like very asking questions, over clarifying, very kind of just, I want to know the answer. I'm going to over ask, right? Like if you've seen it, you know what I mean.
I think he just wanted to know what to do to not fucking keep getting pulled over, dude. He asked her when he pulled left and it was turned into a yellow to a red light. He said, "So in that situation, do I back up?" Well, I don't know if there is a right or wrong answer for that situation. Like, what the fuck, bro? He was just trying to figure out. I mean, if you're in the middle of a yellow light turning left, what are you supposed to do? Just sit there when other people are trying to turn left the other way? Like, that's what he was just trying to figure it out, man. It just makes me so freaking mad because it's just like you said, he just was like, "Okay, well, how do I fix this so I stop fucking getting pulled over every day," you know?
Well, and very genuine. And sorry, Sammy, just the last point about that, because Jess had brought up something about getting pulled over for 7 miles an hour over. Well, then let's talk about when he's traveling. Even though it's the most wanted car in America, he doesn't cancel a cross-country road trip with his father, right? I don't care if you had that shit planned or not. No criminals driving. If you committed that crime, you're not driving the car, whether you're within a year and they have it off by a year. You're not driving that from Washington to Pennsylvania. You're not doing it. And then to get pulled over for following too close. So like, that's where I'm starting to talk about like statistics in general, where what are the odds you get pulled over twice for following close? You're wanted. You have the car that's on the news. You then committed a crime in a Jason Bourne timeline. You're writing papers about getting forced into a false confession plea deal. You are at a school you're in the criminology department that's getting federal funding. You have no connection to them, no murder weapon, no motive, all this stuff that I've talked about a million times. And to put the exclamation point on that is at any point, I would love to see 1,000 other people be in that situation and tell the cop, oh, we're going to get Indian food or whatever he said. Like whatever he said, we're going to go get Thai food. Whatever he was saying, it's like that's where his brain was at. It was, where are you guys going?
Well, you
we're
saw
gonna go
it,
get
like,
food.
in his responses, like, I don't believe that it was an arrogance or a psychological maneuver. More like, I think his brain works in a way where he's so certain he's correct on something. And when somebody's telling him, no, that's not right, or that's why I'm pulling you over, he kept probing because he knew, well, that's not how this works. Like, I'm not accepting that. So he just kept, but he didn't say that. He just kept asking questions in a way to, can you clarify exactly what I did wrong? That's the generalization of what was happening. And I think it's because he knew, like, I didn't do anything wrong. So why am I getting pulled over exactly? And so then he just kept asking questions. And I think, again, you can picture him in a work setting, right? Take that interaction as a microcosm for how he would be in a work setting when he's actually super knowledgeable about a topic, curious about a topic, but has the social skills of, I don't know, right? And so
Somebody who's
he
on the
doesn't
spectrum in a way.
he doesn't have that, probably that's something that says red light, like, stop talking to me right now. I'm busy. I'm doing something. You know, maybe it doesn't, he's so self-focused that I think it probably is hard for him to empathize. Is this person right now busy? Is this person right now doing something? Am I annoying this person? Maybe that doesn't occur to him.
I agree with that. And I think, so there was a question that popped up in the chat, and I want to say that it was Poetic Justice. So, I believe they asked, well, there's got to be a better reason, like, why Brian? And I think that this is a question that many people have asked, very similar to, why would he plea? So, Jess, you gave your theory. You said, this is what I'm hearing. It's two people in the house at least. You hear what you think is Ethan walking in. And also, let's just give a disclaimer. Clearly, you could have 100 people listen to that audio. You're going to get 100 different interpretations, right? So you gave it like your best guess based on what you know, and it lines up. Clearly, it resonated with people. That's why, but in general, whenever anybody asks, why would Brian plead guilty, right? You would say, well, 90 to 95% of cases, they don't go to trial. People, they're overcharged. They settle with a plea deal. But then there's always another, but why? But why Brian? And that is something that I'd like to discuss and get both of your thoughts on, is why would they pick Brian?
You know, I've been thinking, that's such a good question, Bertie, because I've really been thinking about that a lot lately. I mean, think about it. He interviewed to be a cop. What if hypothetically, what if the fucking police force is corrupt and Brian is an honest man? Like he said, like, at least I'm being honest with you. You know what I mean? If you had a criminology student that was good and like pattern neurodivergent, like me, like very good at pattern recognition, you fucking wouldn't want, if you were doing something, you wouldn't want him fucking digging around that. You know what I mean? And they're like, well, he was weird when he interviewed here. And that's when the first fucking red flag ever went off. And I was like, this is fucked, dude. Like, they know this dude. This is pretty fucked. You know what I mean?
Like a liability almost. Like he's going to find something.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I think that's why the fuck they picked Brian. Exactly, Bertie. I really do, because he was a smart guy. They knew he was smart. I mean, he interviewed to be a cop. You see how he responded. He's very intelligent, whether anyone wants to, but I don't believe that he was very intelligent focused on being a killer. I think he was very intelligent on how to clean this world up and make it a better place. The dude couldn't cut meat because he was a fucking vegan, bro.
Yeah.
He couldn't see a cut. He couldn't, I mean, you know, and there's an interview I posted on my page where they're interviewing and it's so, bro, it's just I can't stand the fucking media sometimes, dude. Like ever, but really, like this one's really bad. She's like, well, so this was his first time, right? And they're like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess. And she's like, well, do you think that he would do this again? And he's like, you know what? Honestly, I don't know, bro. We have no evidence. And then the Dollinger dude that took over looked at him like, and he's like, no, we have no evidence. And she's like, well, what about that creepy thumbs up picture? And he was like, nah, man, he had like 28 of those. He was like, that was just his normal pose. But the fucking media said he's putting the thumbs up after he just quadruple homicide. Everybody freak out. He's Ted Bundy Jr. Oh my God, hide your kids, hide your wives, lock your windows. Jesus Christ, bro, what the fuck? They planted it good. Just because people are so fucking self-centered and don't want to give people a chance based off of who they are, they look at them and judge them, and that's what it is. And they knew Brian was smart, and maybe Brian was going to be the one to blow this shit wide open, whatever they're hiding. Whatever it is so fucking bad that it's, I don't know, bro, but I know that it's real bad. I can feel it in my gut, bro. Like whatever it is, it's a pattern. It's something that's been happening, and they knew Brian's if he's neurodivergent like my ass is, bro. I'm looking at the patterns. I'm following along. I'm figuring it out. And they didn't want that. I mean, come on, dude. He said he was weird. He had a lot of piece up selfies. Well, so did the fucking president of the school, but that doesn't make him a serial killer now, does it?
How about people in the house holding a giant
butcher knife?
Jackhawk
You nailed it.
3000? It's like the Ricky Bobby commercial,
Bro.
like Jackhawk 3000 available at
Literally.
Walmart. That's like literally what they're holding in their hands.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous. And then Dylan's like, well, I love Vampire Diaries and Criminal Minds. Then you would know to fucking play plum crazy. Oh, I don't remember. If it was, I don't remember. Xana's in all black. They're in all black. Everybody's in all black. But I don't know because I drank 4 White Claws and I'm blacked out. I don't know. That's what it gives, bro. And I understand that she's probably did just get pulled into this shit, bro. But at the same time, I really do believe that that's my thing. What are the odds? What are the odds they're going in, killing 4 people, everyone sees, but Bethany and Dylan get spared? Unless Bethany and Dylan's a fucking accomplice and had this shit planned too. Because it almost gives Swim Fan, like they wanted to be better than Bethany or better than Kaylee and Maddie or something, dude. They were best friends. You know how girls are, Sammy. I'm sure you do, bro. Girls can be freaking vicious. And
Yeah.
everybody loved, by all accounts, everyone liked Kaylee and Maddie. So was it like, it's just weird. But I really do think that it boils down to the fucking stalker. That's the first thing they ever said about this case. And as someone who has been stalked, it's terrifying. And those people don't quit, dude. They don't stop. And it starts as like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this. Then it turns into an obsession. And you hear him say, there was no talk about you moving away, Kaylee. And she said, I got a job. Like, so who was it? Because I thought it was Jack for a while, dude. But think about it, man. Whoever did this was smart, obviously smarter than probably fucking Jack Decor, let's be real. Which still doesn't air up the 5 a.m. shit. But I mean, 90 out of 100 times, the killer texts themselves from the phone to be inconspicuous. Hey, when you get this, shoot me an email, something that's not personal, so they don't have to actually talk to the person. But he said he was on a FaceTime. So how do you not remember a 17 fucking minute FaceTime, bro? What were you talking about? Or did you have her set up?
I think he was
Like-
lured. I think he was lured there and then
I
scared.
do too. I
Brian?
do too. And I
You're
think
saying
no,
Brian?
Jack.
no, Jack. I think
Jack was.
the
I
bait
think
stick,
Jack
yeah.
was lured there and then told to shut the fuck up
What? Okay, so go into that then. So
because
Jack's lured there.
They kept. The reason he can't remember that 17-minute phone call because that was the 17-minute phone call where they're threatening him. And I believe that they also tried to lure him in with the vape, with the dog, with Murphy. And that's
was
why
so
you
cool,
see
man.
the distrustful look between Kaylee's dad and him. Like he knows more. Yeah, I don't think he killed Kaylee, but I think just like Dylan, that motherfucker knows what happened.
Dude, that's why Dylan asks him when he's walking up on Snyder. I think it's Snyder's body cam. Did they tell you anything? Like, why is Dylan asking Jack?
How calm was he in the back of that cop car?
So he is calm, cool, collected, and saying,
I just
everybody
want to
knows but
know what
me.
happened with my girlfriend while everybody on the outside is freaking out and he can hear the people crying hysterically right outside the door.
But
That mother, do you know the absolute rage I would throw into the back of that police car if I didn't know what
Oh.
the status is of my loved one and you're playing these games with me and now I'm not sure if you're accusing me of something and I just want to know what's going on.
I
Well,
mean,
that's such a good point. Like, I think about it. Okay, let's all think back to our like interpersonal relationships, right? If you were dating somebody in high school, right? It could be your first love. You go to prom with them or senior ball or whatever dance it is, right? And you're dating for a year and a half, 2 years. And then, if you make it to college, it's like, wow, you guys really love each other. And then let's say you go into college. I don't care what age you are, when you're old enough to emotionally and physically date somebody past
Mhm.
a year, even like
yeah,
5
5
years,
years.
that's your reaction, my
All
guy.
right.
You
Yeah,
know,
I
and
would
Karen,
be I would
it's
be
so fucking
sprinting
weird,
into
man.
that house. Like, I would be like, dude,
What's
I would
going
be putting hands on
on?
people.
Literally,
And
just like that.
why was he the only one in the back of a cop car and nobody else was separated?
You know, that's so weird. Why did they
Great
give, when
point.
they gave their statements, everybody fucking stood together. Dylan gave her statement. So, you know, them little fuckers just ran back like, dude, Dylan said this. So everybody say this. This is what we're going with. That's what
Did
it
she
gave
have
to
that
me.
power though?
And on top of it, the twin, Maisie, or was that her name? Ethan Chapin's triplet, the
Yeah, I think so.
girl, we
Mhm.
heard from the aunt on Facebook that she
Right.
was annoyed with
Yeah.
Dylan, crying and screaming and annoyed with that person. Okay, where's your I, the emotional disparity between
Yes.
that scene and the players that were at that scene is so mind bending. It isn't a collective feeling. It isn't like if we all just remember where like anything in your family when you find out somebody died, you all have this collective like horror, grief, whatever. Maybe some people are crying more than others, but there's a general camaraderie of awfulness. Whatever
Yes.
that was
It's not there.
beyond bizarre. It was like everybody's in their own little different worlds.
It was.
It really was.
Dang it. I was going to say, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're
No,
fine.
you're good.
I had a really good thought, man. I just freaking lost it. Go ahead, guys. Dang it. It'll come back. It was
No
a good
worries.
one.
No worries, Justin. I was just gonna say, I've had it where my mom calls me out of the blue, or my sister calls me out of the blue, or my brother calls me out of the blue, and I've had more of a ramp up than what I've seen at
Well,
that house. You know what I mean? Like, I've had more like I've looked at my wife and I've said, fuck, like, why is my mom calling me? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Like, I have that gut instinct, and most times I'm not necessarily right in the fact that it's terrible. It's just, it catches you off guard. So if you were, it's more of not just grief. It's this is out of the blue. This is,
Right.
you're caught off guard.
You're walking
Well,
up to a scene with a bunch
Yes.
of cops and they put you in the back of the car and they're not telling you the status of the person you've been dating for 5 years and you're just like meh.
So fun.
I mean, if you already fucking knew they were dead, I mean, all of them had to have
Of
known. They had to have
course.
heard that shit, bro. Jack was literally so close. He was like, I saw her, the cop cars at her house from down the street. And that's when I was at first like, what the fuck? What? So you was that close, bro, and nobody's like, oh shit, what's going on? There's a car wreck. There's 6 gunshots being fired. Everybody's screaming, run, help. I mean,
Well-
there's a point in the middle of the night, and this is how I know whoever did this though was seriously obsessed and like in love with and I don't know if they, I don't know. I don't think that the girls even really knew who this was, or they had been avoiding them, like really being stalked. But there's a point where they're, you can hear them. I'm assuming they were in the backyard at this point, and one of the girls is literally like being fucking strangled to death. And I mean, that's a very Again, that's a crime of passion, bro. You're not just gonna go up to any old regular Joe and just be like, y'all, let me just start, you know? And she was literally like, get off me, get off me. So I wanted to always know, was her hyoid bone broken? Because there's no way nobody heard anything. It was like,
Hyoid. I
Oh,
I also think too, when you said personal of the crime, that's another thing that never ever was explained. Somebody who doesn't know these people from Adam and having such personal closeness with the level of violence and
covering them
knife
up with
attack,
science and shit.
right? Like and it's not one, it's four. I mean, the wounds are diverse, even though we never got scientific times of death, and we never even saw the autopsy. I mean, like, the whole thing is crazy how much they pushed this and buried this and then spilled a narrative about who's the real victim and like who was he really after. I mean, this is all just speculation, but in my opinion, it was all close. They were all close. They were all personal. So how did he develop this personal animosity supposedly against four people that he doesn't even know?
dude, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'll say the quiet part out loud. Fine. I'll be the bad guy. Okay. I'll say it. There's no way that if this was not personal, that Brian Koberger did this crime. If it is personal, there is something that connected him to them. They are not telling us. I actually don't think that they have anything that connects him. And the reason why I say that is not just because of their own words. I'm saying I really don't, because I believe that that would have been something they would have been screaming from the rooftops. They would have said, he followed them. He did this.
They
he
tried.
worked with them. Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, he did something. And the other part that, Sammy, I brought up last night, and Jess, I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. Just, I guess, answer this question how both of you are comfortable with. But do you remember like 9/11, or I know we all probably weren't alive during
Clear as
JFK,
the fucking day,
right? But
dude. Clear as the day. Like, can see that.
How old were you, Jess?
I was 11.
okay, so
And
I
I
was in
remember
fourth
it like
grade.
it was a fucking. I was
I was
Second.
15.
I
So
remember it like it was yesterday, man.
so everybody remembers that, but I'm using 9/11 as an example, right? I'm using even COVID, something recent, right? But there's other instances. There's Pearl Harbor, there's JFK, there's Gulf of Tonkin. There's this period of time where you're not allowed to question anything that just feels off. Even Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, right? Like that whole situation. You're not
Please.
allowed to question it because you'll be shamed. And everybody's thinking it. There's something in an overwhelming majority of us, whether it be Dylan and Bethany's behavior, whether it be the body language that you see on the 911 body cam when they all pull up to a quadruple homicide scene, cops included in that, right?
Well,
like,
why do you think that they're doing this WSU suit? And now that I see what the colors of it are, it's because all these documents are coming out and more people are starting to say what we've been saying all along. Like, a lot more people online are starting, like her, for example, going viral. She's not alone. There are many people who are just coming onto this case and saying, what the fuck? And now they're reading these documents and they're seeing the buried lab reports and the way that the crime scene was handled and the way that the discovery was handled and everything. And they're saying to themselves, wait a minute. And all of a sudden now we get this WSU lawsuit, civil lawsuit, where all four families now simultaneously sign on to, that's painting the picture that they tried to paint before a trial, that those facts didn't fucking fit. And now they're doing it again in the civil case because everybody's talking about how this doesn't make sense.
Right. And that's what people don't understand. Okay. Here's another part. We are over being told what we can say and what we can't. Okay. We're over it.
I don't give a round of applause. Thank you.
Yes. I'm so sick of, because people have a job where they are on TV, or you know what? Even if you are a lawyer, and I've had many lawyers on this stream, I'm friends with lawyers. I know some of them very well, and cops, and soldiers
Yeah.
and whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Like you could apply that to any career. Guess what? You're a person. We all have brains, and when we all interpret something, we interpret it uniquely. However, wake up, because you guys are so outnumbered in your little bubble of this professional reporting world where you don't really look into anything. You are so outnumbered, it could make somebody puke. That's how gross it is.
The
Right? This is
mainstream media
so
is fucking
obvious.
disgusting and poisonous, bro. It's so sick. It really is like just fluoride brain, dude. It's sick. And it's like
Yes.
they just go with whatever, bro. They went with whatever the fuck would stick. That's why they tried to make it look cartel like. That's why they tried to make it look like this, like that, like. But it's like, do you think some fucking teenage kids, even if they was involved, would be that smart, bro? They're not cleaning a
from the
crime
jump.
scene like that. I thought about it, like maybe it was the Addies. No, bro, this was something else. This was, there's no way, unless they didn't pass away in the house.
No,
That's the
she's
only
not.
other thing.
She's not
I mean,
blaming the survivors. What the fuck is that
Did somebody
comment?
just say that? Who said
When he
that?
said, "Oh, this is defamation. You're blaming the survivors." No, we're pointing out patterns of behavior that are nonsensical, and
I
nobody's
mean,
saying they did that. We're saying they lied. I mean, they lied because
Wait.
in their own testimony they lied. I mean, what are you talking about?
Wait, who said that? Let's
Go
give them a
back and
link.
look in the comments.
No, let's give them a link. Why don't
I
they come
mean,
up here and tell
really,
us?
like if you listen to their interrogations, bro, how are you not? I've lost so many friends, bro, and I still get emotional to this day. So what? It was like everybody knew. What was the dead silence for, bro? Unless, I mean, it makes no sense. We waited until noon. Nothing makes sense. So for the media to just be like, "Yep, this guy was just around the area. He's a serial killer. He stabbed them peacefully for 190,000 times in the middle of the night and got away and ate DoorDash and fucking." It was almost like they just sprinkled all this little extra bullshit into the story, which is what happens with lies because the truth doesn't change. Lies change. The truth stays the same. And that's why when I saw those interrogations, I said, you're full of shit. But why are you projecting that timeline? Why are you saying that specific time? So let's check the tapes. Unfortunately, I think we're missing pieces of the tapes, but I think the girls left to go to the corner club, and I think they came back, and I think there was fucking 3 or 4 grown men inside of their house that helped overpower them because they thought Ethan and Xana, or at least Ethan, wouldn't be there. I mean, it's awful the way that they talk to those girls. Like they was just having fucking cake and ice cream, and they're literally beating them. I mean, when I say torture, I want to make that clear, dude. It makes me want to cry because those girls weren't fucking just stabbed. They were tortured. And Brian Koberger couldn't have fucking tortured them both at once when it's 2 voices.
Well, that's a
It's
good point.
crazy. Who is he talking to? Hey, man, let's get ready to get out of here and go get cleaned up.
Well, and I think one of the other things that's very telling that not many people refer to, and Dylan herself says it, and it's when Detective Gooch is interviewing her and has been asking her kind of about how the perp comes into the house. And Dylan says, well, not if they would have been boosted onto the balcony. And you got to connect these points, because if Dylan's saying not if they were coming into the house via the balcony, go back to what Dylan said Kaylee yelled. Kaylee said, there's someone in here. So that means that this person was already upstairs. You can't have somebody walk up the stairs and yell, there's someone in here. Or someone here.
And then what did Dylan say? She ran as fast as she could down.
Yes, down the stairs.
Down the stairs.
That's to me, in my opinion, I believe that Kaylee was on the 2nd floor and ran down towards Bethany's room. That's my opinion. I believe that that's where Kaylee ran. That's why I believe that there's a mixture of Maddie and Kaylee's blood on the stairwell. That's why I believe that Dylan locked the door and she said she ran down the stairs, right? I'm wondering if Dylan saw Kaylee go upstairs and like in slow motion, kind of. I'm trying to put myself like in that house, right? Like picture it. If she said she saw Kaylee go up the stairs and then run back down and yell, "Someone's in here." She's saying almost it she's saying it almost as if she's seeing her. Okay. You're going to run down the stairs. How are you seeing it? Well, she would have to get to a point where she's trying to get out. And if you look at those stairwells, in my opinion, it's quicker to just keep running straight, dude. Run straight to that window where you see the TV at and down. And there's blood there. I don't know. That's just like a off the cuff thought.
There's blood there, and those cups were just so perfectly placed. Perfect. That's so weird. So somebody just happens to run around the corner really fast, get blood on the railing on the stairwell, but they just happen to have that perfect pyramid. Like we're just ready to flip that cup in there. Put that little beer pong ball right in there, ready to go.
You know what's weird to me too? The fact that, I mean, Hunter went in and then the cop was talking about they were homeboys, but the fact that he's like, he checked the closet and nobody was there, but then you didn't check the rest of the house and you only checked on Xana. Why was that? Why is it everyone distanced themselves when it came to Kaylee? Why did they, I mean, Jack S., how fucking long did he know her? He's like, yeah, I think her name was Kylie. And then
I think it's because they
I
think they touched the bodies. I think that they ungagged Kaylee.
Too.
You know what else is weird, though?
Kaylee.
I don't know. I haven't confirmed this yet, but I heard today from someone commented that Hunter and Xana used to date. So it's like, what are the fucking odds? You're going in the next morning and you only check on Xana. There's three other victims, and they're all covered up. Then who, I mean, did you cover them up, Hunter? Was it you and Xana? And I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just saying it's just weird. Because why the fuck wouldn't they have just went outside, called 911, and then I wouldn't have thought anything about it if the cop wasn't like, yeah, Hunter J's my homeboy, man. You know, the guy that was in here earlier and shit, bro, with like the knife on the ping pong, you know what I mean? Like, it just is like, I don't know. It just, nothing feels right, man. Everything about this case feels off. I don't know what they're covering up, but everything. I mean, how do you have blood and not test that? Unless 23andMe, that's what I think they use. I think they use 23andMe because they use maybe Brian's a cousin of the killer or something. You know what I mean? Maybe they just said, oh, well, if we can just match this blood through a genealogy test and fucking pin it on Koberger and he's related to this dude and has no idea, but it'll still register that they're related or something. You know what I mean? I'm not exactly sure how that works genetically, but at this point, I mean, why would the FBI use fucking 23andMe? That's where I keep being like,
well, I can explain that. And I'm going to say one other thing. And then Sammy, I'll give you the floor here, but
no, I got to get going though.
Oh, you do? Okay. That's okay. All right. Sammy, thank you so much for popping up. We'll get you back on next week.
I know. I'm sorry. I had to get going. It was so nice to meet you, Jess.
Nice meeting you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to talk to you guys tonight, man.
Yeah. Well, Jess,
great video.
Thank you. And you guys do great all the time, man. I've learned a lot. So bye.
Peace. See you, Sammy.
Bye.
Thank you. All right, Jess, let me get us squared away here on a different view. 1 second. And here. 1 second. All right. Let me just get this lined up and then we'll be good to go. I just got to edit the. All right. We should be all good to go. All right. So 2 things. One, I think it's very strange that Hunter Johnson is behind the cops with 4 dead bodies, holding a knife, moving a knife, saying he touched them. The cops don't go in clearing any of the rooms either. So not only does Hunter say, oh, we checked the closet or whatever it is. I've said this a couple times on stream. I want to know on the body cam how we don't see 3 cops with a pistol pointed at the dude holding a knife when they show up to a quadruple homicide. They just pulled up. We hear the 911 call.
It's so crazy.
They're talking about a defibrillator. They are all standing around outside. How does anybody know that's in law enforcement there's not a killer still inside? How do they know that the killer wasn't the caller? There's an entire series on Netflix about it, which is amazing, by the way. It's awesome.
It's so crazy though, dude. Like it doesn't. When have you? I mean, from start to finish, Birdie. When have you ever fucking seen any crime, anything go like this, dude? I mean, this
Never.
is like. I mean, Hunter was like he didn't know why they wanted him out. Like, what the fuck do you mean, dude? We're here. And the thing is, I saw a video too where Emily was like, Hunter was just so nice and he made sure to report that they were unconscious. Like, bitch, you already knew. Did you already know? And I'm sorry to call her the B word. I didn't mean it like that, but I'm just saying, like, bro, there's no fucking way. Like, you guys had to have known. There had to have been hella blood. Was there no blood, or did you all already clean that up before noon? I'm not sure. But the fact that he was like, I wore shorts, so you knew I wasn't going to be there for long. Like, dude, nobody's fucking thinking that. And
Right.
everybody fucking, when I look back, every fucking body was wearing shorts and hoodies. Like, okay, so what the fuck? Did you guys just plan this shit? Like, everybody. And the night before at the corner club, nobody was in shorts. You guys are all in shorts. It seems fucking rehearsed. It seems like somebody said, everybody put on shorts so they don't know we've been over here fucking looking at these bodies or doing whatever they was doing. But it's like, I've never seen anything like it. I've never, ever, ever seen nobody have such little emotion. These were your friends, bro. It's giving that you guys had a fucking purge night with your friends or something. I don't know. I mean, the pictures with the knives, the everything else, it's insane. But the fact that they can just run this shit, bro. And I'm telling you, when I got arrested, Birdie, it was 10, 15 years ago. They ran the thing, even though it was a false headline, over and over until my dad called, like, bro, I'm gonna fucking sue you. Stop running this headline. You know what I mean? And the fact that they're gonna have a Lifetime movie on this shit, and there's not even, I mean, zero proof. Touch DNA can be transferred from person to person, even via handshake. If he was taking off his knives to use that knife sheath, Birdie, his gloves, I mean, don't you think he would have left at least one fingerprint and there was nothing around the rest of the knife sheath, just conveniently the little button? And it was USMC, bro. He wasn't in the fucking Marine Corps, so it makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And I believe what,
It makes me so mad.
well, no, and I appreciate the like authenticness. I feel it. Certainly. I get this way too. And what I try to do is get people similar to you is to wake up to it. It doesn't make any sense. And there's a pattern. There's a pattern with high profile cases, right? Timothy McVeigh, another loner with military ties, paper thin backstory. The Boston Bombers, FBI have their names. Long before the attack ever happened, they still pull it off. Stephen Paddock. Oh, please tell me how this gentleman got 20 rifles to the 32nd floor. I mean, Brian Koberger. Tell me how this man has no connection to them, no murder weapon found, goes into a house with 5 cars in the driveway in the pitch black and stabs them in 7 minutes and leaves no blood. It's the
But nobody
same.
fought back, Birdie. Nobody. Tell me that if it was me, you, Sammy, your wife, and whoever else, we wouldn't kick Brian Koberger's ass, bro. Like there was 6 college kids, and you couldn't fight off one Brian Koberger. No, because you guys were probably bound and tied, and that's why I thought that to begin with. I mean, think about it.
Well,
Nobody fought back at all.
That's a good point. Well, they do have defensive wounds, right? We know that from what we've been told and what we've at least whatever's been released in the autopsies.
But think
However,
that. But that's my point, though, Birdie. That if Kaylee and Maddie had less defensive wounds, then obviously maybe they were tied up. Because why does everybody else's hands all messed up like they were like, you know what I
see
mean?
what your point
Stop.
is. Yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't. I just wanted to clarify. Sorry.
No, I see what your point is for sure. I see what your point is. I would argue too, if I had to go into this is so messed up that I'm even saying this. It's so messed up, but you have to use logic. And sometimes using logic, you have to reenact, rehearse, whatever this crime and how did it actually occur. I want everybody to think of a man walking into a house he's never been in before, not knowing how many people are in there, not having it be this nice house. The bulldozer, when they tore it down, in one swipe of their bucket, knocked it over. So it's paper thin. You know what a college house is. Every step you step on, it creaks. You can hear everything. I want to know if there's anybody that is humanly capable of doing this. And I mean through and through. I'm saying 7 minutes, no blood, only a latent shoe print, only trace DNA,
And
going for 30 days.
We clean. He left and he didn't have anything on him. His Koberger's car had nothing in it at all.
Not seen on camera, not seen in the car, no license plate. I asked this simple question. Where did Brian Koberger enter the house at? Oh, the back sliding door. How did you get to that? Dylan. Oh, is that the same person that said, I don't know what's real or fake?
Right. That's exactly the point, bro, because she knew she wouldn't have to be a credible witness, man. And it's insane.
It's bigger than that, though, Jess. It's bigger. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like,
right.
They took that and ran with it. What evidence shows that Brian Koberger went through the sliding door? Is there boot prints that match him? Is there fingerprints?
We wouldn't know because somebody
Exactly.
walked over top of them, friend. I don't know because somebody was out there fucking stomping on them like they was just walking through a field of daisies. Oh, there's some evidence. Get rid of it. Hurry, hurry. That's what it gives. It's weird.
How do you know he went upstairs first? Did Mabbitt get their time of death? Did she release that? People have asked for stomach contents. People have asked for things that you see in. This is what is so maddening. Okay. I had said earlier in the stream when Sammy was on, I said there's this phase of feeling guilty for asking a hard question. Like I said, 9/11, JFK, Vegas shooting, right? All those type of situations. We're past that point with the roommates. Okay. We're so far past it. And I'm sick of being told that I can't say it. So if that's going to make you butthurt, so be it. Be butthurt, cry yourself a river. I don't really care anymore. So the point that I'm making is this. How, in God's name, do you know where Brian Koberger parked, where he entered, who did he kill first, did he go upstairs, did he go downstairs, and how he exited? What's he wearing? How do you even know what he's wearing? Because you have Dylan again. This is not okay. It's not okay for our system. It's not okay that people believe it on the news either. At all. And it's the truth. I'm sorry. You could be mad at me all you want. It's the truth. That is not okay that the news narrative is taken as evidence from a eyewitness that says she's so drunk or she was dreaming, she doesn't know what's real. Let's all wake up and pull our heads out of our asses and understand we're talking about people's lives where things like this are very important. And the fact that an entire police force and a court system and then all of the mainstream media took it and ran with it and shoved it down our throats until we believed it and shamed anybody that didn't is a joke.
That's what they do, though, dude. They don't want free thinkers. They want people to believe everything they're told, and you just listen to the narrative, and you just be a good little boy and girl. And then when we look into stuff and actually make it make sense and line up timelines and alibis, we're the fucking crazy ones, bro. The CIA is the one who literally coined the term conspiracy theorist. For anyone who does not know that, they created that because obviously, I mean, what the fuck, dude? What are you hiding? That's what it is. That's what pisses me off, man, because those girls didn't deserve that. And I mean, Brian doesn't deserve it, to be quite frank, dude. By all fucking accounts, he might have been a weird guy, but that doesn't fucking mean anything. And the fact that there was no evidence of his, bro, how would you feel if I walked up to you, Birdie, or whoever's listening to this and shook your hand? Then I go take my weapon and shoot somebody in the fucking forehead, you know? Like, and then now they're saying, oh, well, there was touch DNA, so it was you. Like, why wouldn't you go by the fingerprints? Was there blood at the scene? Did anyone bleed? Because I've never, ever, ever in my life heard of anyone committing a crime with a knife, even on one person, where there was no point where they got cut themselves. It's physically impossible. If somebody's fighting you back, you're gonna fuck up. You're not perfect unless you are. And then how many times have you done this? Let's be real. But I mean, it's not logical for somebody to come in 13 minutes and clean up all this shit and everything's perfect again. It makes no sense. If you hear this, if anyone hears this and they believe that Brian Koberger is guilty, I want you to go to the fucking footage and listen to 4:00 a.m. because you're not going to hear anything because they were all exited exactly by 4 a.m. So isn't it ironic that that's when Brian came? Because last I checked, Kaylee and Maddie was unalived at 3:45, 3:46, 3:47. They go to leave. They must have just stood there for a second to watch, like look at the job they've done, and they thought they was just gonna fucking walk out scot free, but no. Ethan walks in 3:49. Oh shit! I'm calling 911. Molly's there at 3:51. Around the same time you hear the thud, the blood, I mean the gut curdling thud, bro. Like I can't get that sound after hearing it even once out of my mind. And then I started thinking, dude, like no. That's what it is. That's why Molly's scared. Don't even get me started that her husband was murdered and shot 9 times. So what the fuck? Was she already scared and they knew that and that's why they poured poor little traumatized Molly into it, dude? Which I don't know, but it's the point. The whole story's bullshit. And if you believe Brian Koberger's guilty, then go listen to the 4 a.m. audio and then go listen to the 2 a.m. to the 3 a.m. audio and tell me more about how it was one person in the house telling himself, hey man, let's get ready to go. Okay. In 2 different voices.
Well, I think to your point, people have to understand everything you just said, plus kind of the darkest aspect of it. And that's that this isn't over. Okay. If Koberger is a plant, if this is a psyop, if he's the wrong guy, if he's a patsy, right? Then really what that means, everybody, is that this entire situation that we've all been witnessing is a giant smoke grenade. I'm not saying that that means that the murders are fake. I'm talking about the hypnotizing of the masses. This digital surveillance, this digital theorizing of because of this car and your phone pings and trace DNA, all of these things that are going towards exactly what the family is suing WSU for, which is predictive modeling. WSU should have been able to predict this, and they didn't. That's why we're suing them for $100 million per victim. So nobody wants to be the next WSU.
It's so fucking weird, dude. It's so fucking weird.
It literally matches up so good that I actually don't even feel crazy saying it. I don't, because how are you going to have everybody witness this? You're going to divide everybody. You're completely dividing the masses via the news, right? You're right. 2 different realities. And it's with every other situation. It's a divide and conquer. Get people emotional, get them bought in, and then behind the closed doors, after people think this is over, let's make a Koberger law. Let's make something codified. Let's have this implemented. We've been wanting to use IGG in ongoing criminal cases, not just cold cases. And we've tracked his phone. We've done the cell phone pings. We have his search history. That's what we are looking at when the families are about to sue for $500 million, damn near, WSU for not knowing this was going to happen. How do you prevent that happening? It's not going to be a human capability. You're never going to know.
I'm saying, man, it's
they're
just
going to
so
go to
weird.
AI.
Like,
they're going to go to AI.
I mean, that's what I was thinking though, Bertie. Like, did they need this? I posted that earlier too. Did somebody fucking need this to happen so their business could launch? Because follow the fucking money trail, and 90% of murders, unless it's a fucking lover triangle, quarrel, ex shit, you know what I mean? Like, who had the most to benefit? Who had the most to lose? Because I'll tell you right now that somebody's getting paid to make this case go like horseshit, because I've never seen anything like it. No evidence markers, no nothing. No, we got the knife sheath on the 13th, but it started chain of custody the 16th. All the documents. We got blood at Jack Showalter's. You can't run it unless there's a presumptive yes.
You want to know what's crazy? I'm going to call this right now. Today's January 15th, 2026. It's 9:13 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to make a prediction. WSU is going to lose the lawsuit. The reason why they're going to lose the lawsuit is this. WSU is already invested in exactly what they're being sued for. They're already receiving federal funding for looking into lone wolf actors and predicting criminal behavior. Why would they want to lose a lawsuit? They can say, oh, $400 million, they'll settle. Let's call it they settle for $25 million each. $100 million investment WSU has to take a hit on. But WSU is now able to flip the script and say, you know what, we were wrong. We're going to go on the offensive. We're going to be the spokespeople for predictive modeling, just like people are doing in this case for IgG. We're going to go out on the forefront and say, we're going to prevent this. And you know how much that $100 million settlement is going to end up being worth? Billions. It's going to be worth billions because nobody's going to want to be the next WSU. And predictive modeling companies, they are salivating. They're saying we can help everybody. We can help law enforcement. We can help schools. We can help corporations. We can help banks. We can help governments. We can predict everything because we have people's DNA. We have geofence data. We have search history. We have everything that we need to be able to predict a crime. And if you don't bring us in and somebody does commit a crime, your ass is grass. However, if you do bring us in and somebody does, we are so confident that it won't happen. We're gonna supply you with an insurance policy, and we're gonna pay the lawsuit for you then, or they're gonna guarantee a conviction, which is where IgG comes in. It's dystopic, but it is. We are heading down that path so fast, and I would bet within 3 years, when you get hired at a new company, you're gonna have to spit into a tube. They're gonna take your fingerprints. And they're going to have the AI predictive model because nobody wants to be the next WSU. I'm promising you that because you could cross state lines outside of work, kill students that aren't even a student at your university, and they don't need a murder weapon. They don't need a motive. They don't need a connection. You're cooked. And that's the precedent that has been set. And that dude didn't even go to trial. He actually settled in a plea deal to get the death penalty off the table from a prosecutor that in 33 years went to trial twice. The guy that got a freaking murder conviction without a body, guys. That's what we're putting up with.
Bro, no murder weapon, no fucking nothing. I just saw a case, Birdie, where there was a guy who unalived this fucking girl and then sold the car that he did it in. He meticulously cleaned it. The cops go looking 20 years later and said, hey, we got a search warrant. We got a subpoena to search your car. We think that this guy who used to own it unalived this lady. Don't you know it had been like almost 30 years and there was still enough DNA evidence in the back of those trunk fibers to tie them to that?
Right.
I mean, think about hair. There was no hair. There was like 2 hairs found at the entire crime scene or some bullshit. And it's crazy. You don't see that, bro. It's like, who could be that perfect unless you just unincluded or weren't looking for evidence and you were just putting what was convenient for you? I don't understand, though. It's like, was literally everyone paid off? Because it seems like it's all about the money.
Well, yeah. And to your point, I think that's another aspect that people need to start to wrap their head around is that technology has gotten so good that things like, for example, a PCR test, and I'm not talking COVID swabs, PCR tests where you spin something around and you exasperate a sample to be big enough to test, you can have the most minute molecule become testable. That's why there's certain drug testing for athletes that they don't allow a certain mechanism because they'll find anything inside of you in any supplement that is legal, yet it could test illegal even though you're not taking anything illegal, right? So technology is advancing so far past what the general public is becoming aware of. And that's one example with like the DNA testing and the fibers after 30 years. The other part, I saw a comment, somebody said, I disagree. The WSU lawsuit isn't going to get off the ground. Respectfully, I would argue they already lost. I'm telling you, they wouldn't have done this lawsuit. They wouldn't have even tried it if they weren't going to win. Name one thing in the Idaho 4 case that has gone the way that we thought it has. It's done. They got sued. They're already receiving funding for exactly what they're getting sued for, guys. They're invested in doing this exact thing. They're not going to lose this. It's already done. And it's going to follow the pattern of blowing our minds and having us continue to fall into this trap of how is this possible? Sorry, it's what's going to happen.
Makes no sense, dude. That's like saying, like, oh, we could have, then make all the. If you guys can predict everything, then make all the school shootings stop. Then make
That's what they're
every
going to
other
do,
crime
though.
stop, dude. Like, it's just, I don't understand. Like, but it's
That's
just,
why.
it really blows my mind. I don't get speechless, Birdie. It makes me fucking like literally speechless. I don't.
This is crazy.
Understand.
Do you remember the oh shoot, where was it? It was Minnesota. Do you remember the Minnesota shooting that was just recently in the last? Okay, there was a gentleman who went on to the news. I believe now I'm not even going to remember his name. It was Gideon. That was his AI predictive model, and he said, "I wish this would have been up 2 weeks ago. We could have been scraping the internet. We could have stopped this." I've shown that clip on the stream. So to your point about the shootings, there are already billion-dollar companies that are claiming they can do this. And it's by scraping all of our data, scraping all of our internet. And it's
awful.
It's the classic, we're only going to use this to stop a monster. We're not going to use this on everyday people. Yeah, you are. We've seen it with the Patriot Act. We've seen it with getting us into wars, right? Like there's an extreme example, but I'm telling you, if you haven't looked into it, you should just look into it. 9/11, our government will do some effed up stuff. And whether or not it was the U.S. government or they knew about it, whatever it is, 2 towers at the end of the day, they were taken down so that we could go guard poppy fields in the Middle East.
Dude, don't
just
get
for
me
us to
started
have an
about this.
opioid crisis.
I swear to God, I've said this 1,000 times. I remember back in the day when there was like crackheads and that was it, bro. It was like there was just crackheads. And then it always changes. But then as soon as 9/11 hits and they go guard the poppy fields, all of a sudden they don't know where this heroin addiction's coming from and all this shit's coming from. I tell people this all the time. And I remember I was a kid, dude. And I remember I told my mom I was a kid, bro. That's how long ago. And I said, they're doing it. I said, they went over there. I said, all the poppy fields are where they're guarding. I said, this is weird. I said, now all of a sudden we got a war on heroin, but there was never a heroin issue. And I'm in Dayton, Ohio, where we were the overdose capital. That's how I started on YouTube, dude. I wrote a song called My Life and it went viral talking about everybody needs to get clean, dude. Like my city went from this normal people to skeletons, and it went viral too back in like 2017. So the media is a machine, bro, and it's more powerful than us. All they have, it's like telephone, bro. I've been through it, so that's why I'm so passionate about it, because they don't care as long as they get the story. And that's why when I heard that, oh, Brian's here, and they tried to say it's fucking, well, then either way. So he wasn't there when everyone was getting killed. If he's just showing up, but that wasn't Brian. That was obviously Brian Enton. So they lie about everything. So if you guys hear them, always second guess, bro. Do your research, because it wouldn't be so fun if it's you. I've been in a cage before and I don't ever want to go back. It's awful. So to everyone who says, well, why doesn't Brian speak up? Imagine fucking being framed and your options are life or death, bro. Mine was sign the paper or go do 5 years. So I signed the fucking paper. Duh. He didn't want to get the fire. I mean, if he would have got the firing spot, he would have had no chance to even fight this charge. So if anyone came from my page that ever questions that, you don't, until you're in that situation, you don't know. And people don't realize, how in the cops that you see, I say it all the time at Speedway, it's not the same as when you're a visitor in their correction facility at all. It's way different, dude.
Well, and so you make a good point. And I think to wrap this up, what I'll say is this. Right now, we're using Brian Koberger and the Idaho 4 as this vehicle to discuss these topics. These topics are extremely long overdue in having a public discourse where people can talk openly about them, and really where people can all actually come out and say, yeah, I've thought that same thing. I've felt this way. I know that my best interest is never going to be in the minds of somebody who's up for reelection, is never going to be at the front of the mind of somebody who's relying on a paycheck because they need to keep their job. There's always going to be somebody that has another reason to do the opposite of what they should do when it comes to truth, justice, transparency, etc. The Idaho 4 case, if you're not red pilled by it, when it comes to take Brian Koberg out of it, dude. If you're not red pilled by this case for just how grossly manipulated we are criminally, publicly, narrative wise, if it doesn't wake you up to go back and look at other past cases, other past headlines, I don't know if you're ever going to be awake. You guys need to wake up. Everybody needs to wake up, myself included. I could always be, more knowledgeable about stuff. But here's the thing. You need to learn not just about the government that governs you. You need to learn about their past and their track record. You need to learn about the dirty stuff that they've done that is now public.
Dude, if you guys want to know, you guys need to go watch Joe Rogan and his interviews with John Kiriakou, who used to work for the FBI, bro.
Yes.
Go listen to John Kiriakou. I love that man. He is amazing, and he tells the fucking truth, dude. Look at Edward Snowden. Everyone thinks, oh no, they wouldn't do that to us. Bitch, they're watching you. Why do you think they wanted everyone to have cameras? It's 1984, George Orwell, like over and over again. I've read that book 1,000 times since I read it in 7th grade, dude, and it still to this day is one of my favorite books. But to see, Birdie, oh my fucking God, this is happening. Like, this is happening. Big Brother is happening before my eyes, but it's worse. And that's what gets me. All this stuff happens, and every town's got satellites and Elon Musk's Starlinks and all this shit. But just this night, nothing got reported, nothing got complained about. There was no noise complaints. There's no fucking camera footage of the person. Well, there is, but it's don't even get me started on that, bro. They posted a picture, and it's obviously it sounds just like Jack DeCour at 5 a.m, which I don't know if he was pulled there as a decoy, because that's what it sounds like if it wasn't him. But the moral of the story is they fucking aired that shit the next day and said, this is Brian Koberger. He was there. Okay, well, if you would have watched the whole clip, you would have seen who the fuck's picking him up if he came by himself and he was there in his white Elantra, because that's not what happens. But they just told us and everyone ran with it. Oh, yeah, this guy's a crazy serial psychopath. I can't imagine what it feels like to be the families but I can't imagine to be Brian Koberger, dude. As someone who did less than 20 hours, baby, I got up out of there. I didn't care. I had to go. I can't imagine, dude. The rest of your life, bro.
Well, I can't imagine that either. And it, like I said, this case is the biggest red pill that I've ever seen when it comes to the criminal justice system. And Jess, I just want to say thank you. You did absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to go ahead. If you want to give some closing thoughts, I'm going to stay up here for about 2 minutes. I got to address some super chats, but if you got anything you want to say, and then I'll put you backstage. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me. To everybody that came from either my YouTube or my TikTok. My YouTube is Realist, REALEST, Rains, RAINES. If you guys want to follow me there. I just really appreciate the opportunity, dude, because I try to tell people all the time, the justice system isn't the way that you think it is. And until you're in it, you don't know. So you should never, ever just hear a story and roll with it, bro. You should never just hear a story and run with it. Always do your own research, because that's what it took for me in this case. You can look at any case and say, okay, that's what happened. Or when something doesn't sit right with you, dude, do the investigative work, because honestly, journalism died in the 90s. Because literally, there have been journalists who die on their fucking deathbed saying, everything I told you guys for the last 70 years was a lie. I wish I could change it now. So think twice, bro. Think twice about what you hear, because it's like this case just reminds me, Birdie, of a fucked up game of telephone, dude. Like he said, she said, but none of it makes sense. So don't just listen to the media, bro, because if you don't think that something like this could happen to any of us, you're crazy. It could happen to any one of us if someone has enough fucking money and enough willpower and enough hate for another human being. And they want to think about this. If you knew it was you or him, and you knew it was you getting life or death, or him getting life or death, what would you know? So they it doesn't matter. There are I want everyone to know this before they go to bed tonight, bro. If you ever take anything from what I've said at all, there are thousands of innocent people who are sitting in jails and prisons for either long sentences or the rest of their life. There are people who fucking die in jail for shit that they didn't do. Because why? Because they don't have enough people for the caseloads, bro. It was awful. I had to pay like 30 grand to get out of what happened to me, bro, out of just a DUI and some other dumb shit that happened while I was drunk. Like, you don't understand until you're in that situation. And if you think, oh, because I've been out 1,000 times, it'll never happen to me, I'll never get roofied. You don't know that. You don't know that, bro. I never in a million fucking years would have thought that I could say that I'm an ex felon, bro, but I am now. And it for me, it was Miss Rains at my sentencing. I believe exactly what you said, but you chose to go out that night, so it's on you. Sign the paper or go away for 5 years. My dad was standing there, rest his soul. Like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? So yeah, a lot of people Google what your state's conviction rate is, bro. Because I tell you right now, if you get hemmed up 98% of the time, you're getting fucked over every time.
Well, I think that's great advice. Don't ever talk without an attorney. It goes back to like those two pot lawyers that are always like, it's shut the fuck up Friday. Just shut up, get an attorney. But yeah, no, Jess, thank you so much. Congratulations on just the success with getting your voice out there, and great theory. I appreciate having you on. We will, I'll talk to you offline. I'll send you a DM. I got to go out of town this weekend, Hive. So this will be my last live stream until Monday night at 7 p.m. And Jess, thank you again. I'm going to stay up here. I'm going to address the super chats, but I hope you have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much for popping up.
Thank you so much for having me, man. And just keep your minds open, guys. Always take shit with a grain of salt from the media. Please do that for me. If you listen to anything, just do your own research, man, because I would have never thought that when I looked into this case, bro, that it would be what it is, but it is. So do your own research, man. Use your brain. And I love you guys. And thank you so much, Birdie, for having me. You're amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Jess. I hope you have a great rest of your night. And Hive, I will go ahead and I'm going to address these super chats. Jess did great. And it's always fun to have, new people up onto the stream. I really do appreciate that. I think it gives great perspective, great conversation. So I already addressed Edie's, and Kawanda says, yes, Jess, you're such a badass. Love seeing you on the live. White Rabbit 9 says, audience, please read the documents released for yourself. White Rabbit 9 follows up with two more super chats. The first one being, to be honest, BK chooses silence, so I won't talk for him at a certain point. It's not a terrible thought by any means. How can women defend such a sociopathic woman? I'm not sure what part of the live that was at, but nonetheless, thank you for the super chat. No Dogs Left Behind, thank you for the super chat. Reasonable Doubter says, to add to Sammy's point, the emotions during the interviews or lack thereof immediately after this all happened is just off and it's bizarre. Totally agree. White Rabbit, geez, you're on fire. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Gurgling is from stabbing wounds, blood in the airways. Yeah. And I can't imagine that that's quiet either. Peggy Dishman says, what you say, Jess, makes sense, but then I'm confused about the cowboy guys or the FBI people there and what they carried out. I agree. There's always an aspect of every theory. I don't care who you are. There's always unanswered questions to the point where it seems very much so by design. And White Rabbit again, dude, thank you. I appreciate that big time. Orthotolidine positive in many places that throughout house that alone is a proof of a cleanup. Yeah. This is in the recent docs. Look it up. Please read y'all. I agree. There is absolute proof of a cleanup. It's referenced by Brian Koberger's attorney. Guys, please hit that like button, hit subscribe. Thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you to Jess. Thank you to Sammy T Mafia. I got to go out of town this weekend. And as much as I'm going to miss you guys and streaming, I think that a couple days off is going to be good, at least for me. I'm going to have a lot of time traveling to look through the Discord, look through comments, look through new videos and stuff like that. So I'm very excited already to be refreshed and rested up for Monday. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you guys then. Cheers, Hive.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new